Hello, this is Garth, and today I wanted to talk to you about a little thing called, what's it, right here, Patreon. And I've been using Patreon for a number of years now. Some of you remember back in the day when I was doing in-person workshops, especially at Teachers Convention, I was already using Patreon. And initially I used it as an archive where I saved all of the resources from educator workshops at Teachers Convention. So I saved it on there, and then for a small monthly fee, then you could access those resources. But things have changed. I mean, now in this new digital age where I'm going from different from school to school, and I'm not even going in person, things have changed a lot and I thought I would just do a quick update on what's happening on Patreon. And I think it's a really good option for educators, or even if you're a fan or if you want to support what I'm doing. So first things first, let's get into it, and I'll show you what the Patreon website looks like here. Okay, yes. So if you go on Patreon, basically how it works is you can choose a membership level, and it's $1.50 per month, or $8 per month, and that is the educator level. And so the main difference between the two is that for the fans, the $1.50, those are people who just say, you know what, I think Garth, you know what you're doing is awesome, so I want to be kind of a supporter of that. And you know, for the fans, I load some videos too, so I'll throw in the odd teaching video in the category for fans as well, but I'll mostly put updates and things like that, shout outs I'll put in there. But what I put in the educator level is really, I guess it's one of the more, I guess it's one of the bigger ones, the one that I focus on quite a bit, and that's the one where I actually put things on there that I use on a week-to-week or month-to-month basis. So I'll get right into an example here. So here, yes, so I'm actually in the middle of a residency with a school out in Sherwood Park right now, and I came across this situation where I was teaching a song. I've been teaching the song for many years, but because I'm not physically there directing the piece when the students have to perform it, I made a video of myself directing so that the students can sort of follow along while they're performing the song, as if I'm there as a director. Now, of course, as you can imagine, there are actually some benefits to this. For example, as you can see the small screen here on the side, I'm able to put a small video of just my feet, which is actually very advantageous, because when I used to direct, let's say 100 students at a time performing the song, there's a good chance that they couldn't see my feet. So sometimes, you know, my foot was going forward, somebody else's foot who's in the back, coincidentally, their foot's going back instead of forward, and so on. But now, you can cast a video like this on your big screen, and you can see my feet, you can see me directing, you can hear my voice. I edited it, that sort of thing. And I also bring in the xylophone parts one by one in this video. So you can like soprano, alto, and then the bass xylophone, I bring them in one by one. So that's an example of the kinds of things that I just load onto the educator, I guess, platform for Patreon. And another example is this past Black History Month was one of the first times I spoke about colonization and decolonization and people like Nelson Mandela. And at the time I didn't really mention it, but this is a very difficult topic for me to talk about, because I spent the first 8 years living under apartheid, this South African rule, and after that we still, I guess we even though the law changed, we still had to do the hard work of learning to live together and to accept one another. So I have a lot of difficult memories from this time period, but with the Black Lives Matter movement, I started talking about it for the first time, and I did it in these workshops, as you can see, for Black History Month. So what I would do is, this is the actual Google slide that I used. So if you're a subscriber on here, you would basically get this as well. And it was at least between $200 and $400 for me to come and do this in person, and it includes videos and everything. But if you for $8 a month, if you are subscribed, you could just use the presentation in your class. And there's so many other things too that I've loaded on here over the years. And here's one from a workshop I did a couple of years ago for teachers, and I was going through everything. And so I would load scores on here, I would load sheet music, anything. I use it as an archive. And if you come on here, how you would use this is, once you're subscribed, you would go in, and all you need to do is search. As a subscriber, you would search a song. So if you have a question for me about, say, Tatewetu, and this happens a lot actually, I should deal with this right now. I get people sending me emails asking me questions that I've answered hundreds of times already in workshops, and I've written it down. So what I would recommend is, if you're a subscriber on Patreon, go in here first, type the name of the song, and 5 or 6 resources are going to come up. And those resources are going to have, notes. Sometimes it'll be the full score. It'll tell you what the language is. It'll all be there somewhere. And then, you don't have to send me that extra email, because, sometimes when I'm in the middle of a residency, I can, it can take me a while to get back to you as well. So that's just in a nutshell what I'm doing on Patreon. And basically, another thing last thing I'll say about this is that on Patreon right now, what I'm doing, because I think it's such a valuable resource, I want to build more of a community. So what I'm doing now is I'm accepting, if you're a Patreon subscriber, I'm accepting requests. So for example, if you say, hey Garth, can you rewrite this one part for me, or can you explain this specific xylophone part for me, or something like that, or can you provide this extra support for me to teach this extra thing? I would do that using Patreon, and then I would load it on there for everybody to share. So if you have a specific thing that you feel like students are always struggling with, you feel like maybe a specific rhythm or a drumming thing that I do too fast on one of my videos, if you're a Patreon subscriber, you can contact me at any time. It'll take usually about a week or 2 for me to make a video, but the nice thing is I've gotten multiple cameras set up at home. I can film my feet, I can film multiple xylophones, drums, all of that. And what I will do is I'll create a video to help you with whatever you need. So I want to build sort of a community like that, where I want to get feedback from you to help your students really implement all of this. And then of course, as a thank you for being a subscriber, once you've been a subscriber for 3 months, you can even get access to some discounts for when you're doing residencies, when you're doing workshops, attending any of my workshops. You get a standard sort of 20% discount on all of the things that I do. So yeah, I just wanted to run over that. Patreon, I think, like I said, it's a great resource right now. I mean, at least for the next year or so, I think it's going to be really valuable. I'm still here doing workshops quite all the time, basically. I'm busy up until June, so I'm still accepting workshops, but all of my workshops, they are online. I'm doing them digitally, but I have got a really good setup so that I can actually teach more in depth in some ways than what I did before, because I'm able to use some cameras, and I'm able to do some editing to really, to really highlight some of the things. Technology can help with that. Now, I know, of course, it's not as great as me being there in person, and I still look forward to that, a year or so from now, when I will be able to go out to schools again. But I think this is a great option, and it's the best we can do in the meantime. Thank you again for all the support I've gotten from all of you throughout the years. I wouldn't have been able to do what I do if there weren't schools out there asking for it, if there weren't educators looking to bring in something different and something cultural to the students as well. And I just want to say thank you first off. The last thing I'll mention is that the only videos that are not on Patreon would be videos that I've done in partnership with organizations like the BC ORF chapter, Alberta ORF chapter, because those videos you would have to get them specifically when you purchase that resource. But sometimes an example is Grazing Back Home might be on there. And there was lots of great resources on there. But later down the road, actually just recently in this residency I was doing, somebody asked me to make a slow breakdown for Grazing Back Home so that, it shows a much slower breakdown of how to do it. And so I did it. So now I think this would be a great addition to, if you've ever had a Garth Prince workshop before, if you've ever attended one and you just wanted to refresh, or if you have another one and you just kind of feel like there's some parts that you wish you had a little bit more support, this would be a great addition to what you already have. Anyway, thank you for listening, and have a fabulous week, and enjoy, or should I say happy music making.